Put your hands together for that young bull, Shane Gillis.
Hey, I don't have much, because this is gay.
Desperado, rough rider, no you don't want nada, none of this, six gunning this, brother running this, buffalo soldier, look it's like I told you, any damsel that's in distress, be out of that dress when she meets your
Thanks, fellas.
In the past few years, Shane Gillis has quickly risen up to become one of the most beloved comedians of his generation. It's funny to go back and listen to the beginning of Matt and Shane's secret podcast, when the two of them are living in a house full of open micers in North Philadelphia. You could tell from the very beginning that the camaraderie and friendship of Matt and Shane is what makes their show such a great listen. Now, a lot of the time, when a comedy podcast has two or more co-hosts, it can wear on their actual friendship, and because they're obligated to talk to each other multiple times a week, it can make them start to resent each other. But it seems like Matt and Shane have been able to stay genuinely great friends throughout the entire lifespan of their podcast. Neither one of them take themselves too seriously, and I think it's their ability to joke about anything with each other that makes their friendship so strong. I think that even in their darkest time, both of them were able to make light of how ridiculous the situation was in the first place.
Episode 1357, dude. Oh my God. Oh my God.
What?
This podcast is brought to you by nobody. Shane was a bad boy.
Yo, my bad, y'all.
Yo,
No,
dude.
that's what the fuck?
Dude, what happened,
What
man?
the fuck just happened?
The cast fucking lives.
Dude, the cast was too hot.
The cast.
Dude.
Well, you know what it was, man? It's the classic. It was a story of the dude who flies near the sun, dude.
Icarus?
Icarus, dude. It was
Yeah.
classic Icarus.
Yeah, man.
We were the tree. We were the humble tree, just slowly inching towards the light. And dude, we mothed out, flew to a star, and they were like, "Get the fuck no!"
Get this trash out of here.
Wait, what?
Yeah, man.
I doubt that many friendships would hold up after being scrutinized and called racist by what I'm sure at the time felt like the entire Western Hemisphere. But I think that both Matt and Shane value human connection above anything else. And even though getting canceled was a fairly negative experience for Shane, it got him exposure. And a lot of people that were against cancel culture to begin with wanted to give Shane a platform so he could talk about his experience with SNL. And even though being a victim of cancel culture is what got his foot in the door, I think that he quickly proved to everyone that his identity was a lot bigger than just that. Now, just about anyone could have gotten canceled for something offensive they said at the right time and gotten platformed by a bunch of people that were against cancel culture. And I think that if most other comedians had made it to this point, they would have just continued pandering to their new audience and embraced their role of being a poster boy for the anti-cancel culture movement. But it doesn't seem like Shane ever even seriously considered doing this. How quickly he went from being that guy who got canceled from SNL to just being Shane Gillis is a testament to how talented and unique of a comedian he is. And I've seen recently how some people are a little worried about Matt and Shane moving to Austin. Because a lot of times when a comedian gets a little too close to Joe Rogan, they can lose any motivation to be original or innovative and just start emulating him. I'll use Tim Dillon as an example, because he's probably done this the most successfully. Now, I used to be a huge Tim Dillon fan. I think my favorite era of his show was probably in the beginning when he had Ray Kump as a co-host, and the two of them would just talk about conspiracies and make jokes about how fat and disgusting they were. And I'd like to think that in a world where ratings didn't matter, this would still be what the Tim Dillon Show is today. But somewhere along the line, Tim seems to have adopted this centrist style of podcasting. And to his credit, I think that he's almost perfected it. I think that Tim is extremely good at pretending like he's coming from a place that sees through all the politics and the bullshit and gets down to the deeper truths. And like what he's saying is so meaningful or profound that it traverses any side of the political spectrum. When in reality, I think that he's just kind of making generic statements that toe the line so he can keep his wider audience. And although this has worked very well for Tim, nobody's been able to fully recreate the Joe Rogan experience because I think a huge part of the formula is that he doesn't seem to be manipulative or calculating enough to be anybody other than himself. A big part of what makes him likable is that he seems to genuinely try to open himself up and be receptive to other people's perspectives. I think that he does try to base his opinions around the facts, and he tries to get as much context as possible before making a definitive statement about something, even if he fails at doing this a lot of the time. I think that he contradicts himself so much because he can easily get carried away in the moment and be swayed by whoever he's talking to at the time. Whereas Tim Dillon contradicts himself because I think that he lets his opinions change based on who he's trying to pander to in the moment. But what separates Shane from Tim Dillon or Joe Rogan is the same thing that makes all three of the people that I'm talking about in this series different. And that's that none of them have to look to anybody else before they can form their own opinions. They can analyze a situation and determine how they feel about it based on nothing but their own internal set of principles. Whereas I would say most other people have to look to somebody else and see what they're thinking before they can make their own opinion. There seems to be something about this independent style of thinking that allows someone to create art that's so much more pure. Now, before comedy podcasts got extremely popular and inspired a whole new generation of people to become open micers, I think the most common reason why people got into comedy is because they felt like they never really fit in anywhere else. They had already developed an ability to examine human nature because they had spent their childhood trying to figure out what made them different from the people around them. And they developed a good sense of humor so they could try and form a connection with people that wasn't already there. This is probably why comedians enjoy each other's company so much and have such a hard time relating to anybody through anything but humor. I would definitely fit Nick Mullen and Sam Hyde into this category. But because they never fully felt like they belonged anywhere, they seem to have a sense of detachment and even resentment towards regular people. I think that if someone gets rejected too much by their peers as an adolescent, an extremely cynical voice starts to form in the back of their head that tells them that people are inherently evil and you can't fully put your trust into anybody. This feeling that you're completely alone in the world can lead to severe depression and keep you from ever being able to form a relationship that's stronger than your own insecurities. This general attitude about the world can carry over into their comedy and be replicated by some of their fans. Sam Hyde fans are particularly original and creative because I think they value intelligence and independent thinking above almost anything else. But there also seems to be a sense of disdain for the way regular people think. I think that MDE fans can be extremely judgmental to outsiders or people who are just getting into Sam Hyde because they go out of their way to be different. And if anyone they consider normal starts to like the same thing that they like, then it makes them start to question how different they actually are. But this is what makes Shane so interesting. He seems to be painfully aware of the people around him, but he doesn't seem to have developed any of the negative connotations that usually come with that quality. He has a deep connection with his family and friends, and I think that what he says is so relatable because he uses his skills of observation to try and figure out what makes the people in his daily life so hilarious and enduring. Instead of a layer of detachment or resentment, he seems to depict human nature with a layer of connection and understanding. His audience comes from all different walks of life because he unites people with his ability to mimic the lovable aspects of the people that surround us. And now, with his Bud Light partnership and him about to host SNL towards the end of this month, things have kind of come full circle for Shane. He's a regular on JRE, and him and Matt's Patreon makes more money than any other channel on the platform. I guess we'll get to see how Shane reacts to being truly famous and influential in the next few years. He's already been presented with opportunities to sell out his identity in order to gain more success, and he didn't take them. So I don't really imagine him selling out now that he's already successful. I think that he's realized that now all he really has to do is sit back and be himself. I really appreciate everyone who watched this series. Let me know in the comments if you have any ideas on stuff that I should talk about in the future. Thank you.